From CMC Media, this is AgileTalk. I'm Patrick Egan. Well, one of the hottest topics today is the focus on Agile and ALM together. Two terms that were thought once to be at odds. ALM, or Application Lifecycle Management, traditionally focused on heavy processes and waterfall development, while Agile methods strove to rid the developers of the chains brought on by rigid process. So I'm joined today by Todd Olson from Rally Software to talk a little bit about Agile Application Lifecycle Management. Welcome, Todd.
Pleasure to be here, Patrick.
So Todd, can you tell me a little bit what's behind the market push to support Agile and ALM together, and what's Rally been doing recently to support Agile ALM?
Sure, I'd love to talk about that. So I think what we're seeing now in the marketplace is that the Agile processes are fundamentally disrupting the core requirements for traditional ALM tools. Before, these tools were comprised of these siloed applications: requirements management, test management, source code management, development. They're all separate applications that had some lightweight integrations between them. Where we're seeing the disruption is that Agile now has systems that have all of these artifacts in one system of record. So that automatically has baked-in traceability, that automatically has baked-in transparency, so people can have up-to-minute visibility of what's going on. So no longer are these things siloed products, there are single applications, and that's really where the fundamental disruption is. That added with the fact that there's obviously a lot of contextual information, things like time boxes and releases, that the Agile tools have first-class support for, and traditional ALM tools simply have no meaning for. So what we're seeing is that Agile has created a brand new set of requirements that if you're not getting from your ALM system, it's going to actually be harder for your organizational to transform. I was actually just giving a talk yesterday, and we're talking about how organizations can transform themselves and get better. And if they're using an old waterfall tool, they're going to get trapped in old habits. They're going to get trapped in old ways. And you really need to use a tool that just makes it fluid and seamless so you don't get pulled back to an older way of doing things.
Yeah, it's definitely true. And, I imagine that with such a large customer base that you have, you've run into organizations with a pretty wide variety of software development processes. So how easy is it for your framework to adapt for different processes and styles?
Yeah, very, very easy. And I talk about a bunch of things we're doing there. And I think really this is all about our product not just simply being a product in an ALM solution, but being a platform. So we've got very, very deep integrations capabilities. So integrations with legacy systems like HP's Quality Center or Rational's ClearQuest. These systems have been around forever, even homegrown systems. And they have traditional kind of waterfall-oriented artifacts. But now we're seeing teams want to schedule those artifacts in an iteration in Rally, right? Because they want to work on it in an agile fashion. So we've got a powerful enterprise integration framework which helps us connect these data bi-directionally synchronized, put them in releases, and as we make changes in Rally, feed those changes actually back to those other systems. So by creating a strong integration framework, we can adapt these other styles and make it much more seamless to adopt new capabilities while preserving investment in their legacy systems as well. That's a key item we're doing. I think another thing I'll talk about is in our Unlimited Edition, which we recently announced, we're really deepening support for what we call upstream and downstream processes. A lot of tools only focus on development. Let's just make development better. What we're seeing is once teams start doing Agile, that they can predictably develop software at an acceptable level of quality. I wouldn't say we fixed it, but we're starting to fix it. But now we see pressures in other parts of the organization. How do you account for it? How do you do cost or billing analysis? That's still a pain point. So we've added capabilities like time tracking in our Unlimited Edition to help ease the burden of kind of the upstream and downstream effects that are affecting development organizations. And that really helps, we think, in some of these hybrid style environments as well.
Well, can you tell me about some of the other new features in the latest release of the Agile ALM tools?
Absolutely. So we're really excited. We announced a number of different things. So let's talk first about traceability, specifically traceability at the development level. So since day one, we've had traceability between user stories, defects, and test cases, so that you can understand basically the impact to any one of those three based on changes. So now we've deepened our traceability to add to the build and source code level. And this is really powerful because now if you're looking at a feature, you can determine what builds they're in. You can determine if those builds were successful or not. You can determine if there's code's been delivered against certain things. You can also look at builds and figure out which stories or defects are in them. So you get this very powerful level of visibility that helps contextualize all that information. But we've gone a step further and we've added more analytics with this capability. So we've got a powerful analytics capability in Rally. Now we've put this build and source code level information analytics so we can drive some powerful insights. For example, a lot of people in the Agile community talk about refactoring. And there's plenty of tools out there for refactoring. But the question that's posed to us is, how do you know what to refactor? So now with Rally information and source code information, we can find files with a large number of defects, which are great candidates to spend and invest time in refactoring. So we actually help you gain value out of your refactoring tools by giving you insights on how to actually point those arrows, right? So that's a very powerful capability. We've also introduced apps. You talked about customization. So we've got a deep, strong API. So you can actually create tailored applications. We see customers doing this all the time. You can create customized views, dashboards, really anything you want. And we're providing an SDK where you actually can take these data-driven components and assemble them to create new and interesting ways to view information in Rally. We've also introduced custom app development services. So you can actually hire one of our consultants to come in, interview your customers' needs, work with your development teams, and develop customized extensions of the Rally platform that just plug in and immediately are available to all the members of your subscription. So apps are an exciting way to kind of pick and choose different capabilities based on your organization's unique needs to get more out of the Rally platform.
Well, that's great. So can you tell me a little bit about what the future holds for Rally with ALM and Agile ALM?
Sure. So, the future is really all about the support for doing Agile at scale in large organizations. And, honestly, that's very, very new. So we're now starting to see more and more organizations with well over 1,000 people working on a single product. That's coordinated development of 1,000 people. These aren't silos of people. This is 1,000 people working on a very, very large product. So how do you coordinate those teams? How do you do planning when you're looking at year-long roadmaps but coordinated across multiple thousands of teams? This is brand new for Agile. This goes certainly beyond an iteration in 2 weeks and a simple team. Right now we're talking about coordinating massively sophisticated styles of work, and that's really where we're excited. And we're spending a lot of our time both in our services and coaching arm as well as our product arm to help provide higher level visualization, higher level coordinated planning to give people the power to deliver very, very sophisticated products to market faster. So, and that's what's exciting for us.
Yeah, I think the whole adoption of Agile is pretty exciting. Even over the last couple of years, we surveyed the Agile Journal audience a couple of years ago, and 80% of the people had a pilot project going on. Our surveys this year said 90% of the people are almost fully adopted with at least one project fully into Agile. So it's really moving into the enterprise as well. Absolutely.
That's what we're seeing as well.
Great. Well, it's good talking today again, Todd, and look forward to seeing more from Rally. And for more information about Rally software, you can visit them on the web at rallydev.com. And for more information about AgileTalk, visit us at agilejournal.com.